Not playing. Let me mute myself before that happens again.
Yeah, it don't matter. We've dealt with worse sounds in our lifetime. Gotta run. Just got word back bulk buy 672 DVDs from 120. I don't even think Eric goes to thrift stores anymore. I think he just does bulk buys only off Facebook. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. You don't got to deal with all the people. All right, there goes your link, Tommy boy. Save that. Uh,
Okay. Yeah, you get a couple of those with Scan Lister, and I looked at them, and they're not real lengthy, and they don't have odd things that pop up. But yeah, I'll take a look at this.
It's like a 5 minute video, but I mean, honestly, just hit me up if you need any help. I can, I'm not no genius at it, but I've done quite a few shipments already. So
Yeah, as long as they don't take that that last batch and just can't figure out how I split the box up, I should be okay.
yeah, and you can also print your 2D labels and all that stuff from right inside there. You can print the 2D label per box, or you can print all the 2D labels for all the boxes. There's a lot of options on that screen.
Yeah, I did not see that screen when I was trying to cash out there, but I'll
Yeah.
look for it on the next batch. I should, the weekend's coming up, so I'll have enough stuff where I'll be sending another shipment in, Monday or Tuesday.
I think that video pretty much explains everything, but like I said, you have any questions, hit me up.
Okay, thanks.
so, what is going on in the world out there? Johnny B wasn't here first, so he was 3 minutes late, so I must scold him first before we go any further. Johnny, what is your excuse? I hope you have an absentee note from a parent or guardian, legal guardian.
Making money. More important than you guys.
Okay,
Sorry.
well, listing stuff on eBay isn't making money, but good try.
Hey, there's all those Amazon boxes over there, my man.
Dude, they're the same boxes I've seen in the background of the podcast for 6 months now.
Uh-huh. What'd you do today, Mike? What are you doing today?
Believe it or not, I had like 6 or 7 one-on-ones. I've been sitting here looking good, feeling good. Amazon sales are coming in. I haven't left wait, I did leave the house. I think I left the house. I can't recall. Tomorrow's my birthday, so how about you stop picking on me?
It's not your birthday yet.
It's my birthday week, dude. Don't you realize
You
how
don't
it
get a
works?
whole week off. Thanksgiving
Dude,
gets one day. So does
when
Christmas.
when you
You're
get
saying you're
married,
more important than
when
Christmas
you
and
get
Thanksgiving.
married, there's a birthday month, right? I'm just cutting it down to a week here. There's a birthday
I'm
month
gonna
in a
talk to
month.
Deb about this. We're cutting your
She's a
holiday
proponent of
time.
the birthday month.
Uh-huh.
It's not
Uh-huh.
just the birthday. It's like the month leading up to the birthday, right? Like that's how it works.
I want to let her know you're lying too.
Resale stuff says I bought a Gaylord of CDs and it sucked. Um, yeah, it's all about the supplier. It doesn't matter if it's a Gaylord or if it's one box, right? If I buy a Gaylord from Johnny, like it's gonna suck. He's taking all the good stuff and leaving me with the crap. A lot of it is just based on who the supplier is, if they're scanning. I know people aren't upfront about it, but a lot of the stuff, right? If it was all profitable, why wouldn't they just sell it themselves? That's kind of the question you have to ask yourself when you're buying lots or bulk lots, right? Like, why the hell does this person have a Gaylord of CDs? Why aren't they selling their Gaylord of CDs themselves? Kind of just little things, but that would suck going through a whole Gaylord of CDs because I can imagine the mess, the broken cases, the missing CDs. It would be a nightmare that I'm kind of, not up for the challenge yet in my life, or maybe someday I'll get there, but not today. Jameson's been like selling game manuals for like ridiculous amounts of money, right, Jameson?
More or less.
The manual man. Some of these old school video game manuals just have ridiculous, like just the manual. I'm not even talking the case. I'm talking a little paper manual
Yeah.
that comes
Here's a
inside.
crazy one. Silent Hill 3. And then this is like a $200 manual. Xenosaga 3. Someone offered 140 today, but I said no.
Sheesh, for that little piece of
Hey.
paper.
Paid 21 cents.
All right, we got a question, a good one in YouTube. Maybe some of you can give opinions. What's a good price to pay for a Gaylord of books? Anybody, Johnny? Don't say zero because you don't want them. Save the snark for. I want a serious answer here.
$100.
It depends. Have they been scanned, or
Exactly.
or are they not scanned?
well, listen, I can't do a deep dive with somebody over here in the YouTube chat. I'm just asking to shoot some spitball, some numbers out here for the guy or
Three to
girl.
$600.
Yeah, a raw pallet's $100.
$100.
Are we talking sight unseen, or can you like take a gander?
I mean, you're not going to be able to see much in a Gaylord, dude. It's
Okay.
I mean,
Yeah.
without variables, $100 sounds right, but then freight probably, unless you're paying. There's so many variables here. You can't just say
Yeah,
Gaylord books.
that's true. Do I have to ship it cross country? But I mean,
Yeah.
local. If it's local to you and you know it's raw and it's legit raw, I'd say easily $100.
Yeah, I agree with that. $100 to $600, depending on all the variables.
There you
I
go.
pay on average between 50 and 200 for the ones I've been
If
picking
they're
up.
hand-picked out stuff that you've told them to do, that's more in the $600 range. If it's just thrift store lugging in books in the box, $100.
There you go. There goes your answer. No more than basically $200 unless it's curated, and you probably won't pay less than the cheapest I've heard is $80. Some Goodwills will sell you the Gaylords for $80. So that exists. That's out there in the universe. Do what you want with it, and yeah, some Gaylords sell some Gaylords sell Goodwills. Some Goodwills sell Gaylords for $80, and you can take as many as you want. Oh, on the YouTube stream, they can see my mouse, and it's over Bev's head, and it's like a little white hand over Bev's head on the YouTube. I'll just leave it there for the whole stream.
Yeah.
So now I know when Johnny's acting bad, I'm just gonna move the mouse over his face when he's acting out.
It's just going to be constant then.
What do we think about like scaling this business, right? I just did the video and I thought about it, like how much work could I possibly scale up with like relying on thrift stores? I think like you get to a point where you can't scale no more in a thrifting business, and I think to myself, like, if I put in more hours, it's just going to mean me driving further. So it's not like I'm going to have a whole lot of extra sources. I'm just going to be driving further out. And then because what happens here is people put more hours in, you go to the same stores more often, so you're really just hurting yourself in the idea of you going to the same store more often because there's not inventory. So it's,
I mean, you could scale it slightly if they agree just to fill a Gaylord and you're just the pickup guy when it's full. I mean, you can have an employee do that route that you've established. You have to be the front man initially as you continue to grow and scale it, and then have a pickup driver. But that, again, that requires time, effort, and energy. So is it best spent that way or another way? Them's the questions.
I am like, I don't know. It's tough when I think about scaling, and I think you have to accept the business model you have currently and what's the limit for it, right? We all have limits within this business, whether you're anywhere close to it today, right? Jameson probably wants to do 7 figures on Amazon, but he's not close to it today. But when he gets to that point, he thinks to himself, like, well, how can I, what's next? Like, how can I take it further? It's tough to think about scaling because we all want to make more money, right? The majority of us, besides, Tommy Boy, who just donates it all to U of M, which is perfectly fine. We want to make as much money as we can, but we get to a point where you're just spinning your tires, whether that's sourcing or whether that's just processing the inventory. And a big part of scaling is hiring an employee. And it's kind of like a lot of us are. We overthink hiring an employee as like, oh no, like it's the end of the world. I'm gonna have to be involved with all this stuff. And we've talked about it before, where you can just hire somebody on as a contractor, and then you're basically good to go. So there's easier ways around it. It's not like you have to, do all this pain in the ass legwork to have an employee. You can just have them as a contractor and build from there. So there's a lot to be said about scaling. And I will say this, I think overall the group has become more focused this year on like what they want to sell and where they want to get, and like the processes they're changing to get there, which is a good, because listen, we all just fly by the wings in the beginning, right? Like we want to sell on Amazon, we want to make a lot of money doing this, and then we kind of just keep in this chaotic flow of just everything coming at us, and we're doing everything, we're going a million ways. And I think as you develop, you realize, okay, well, all right, well, I'm making a little bit of money now what can I do to take it to the next level? And then you might get to the point kind of where I'm at, where it's like, if I want to scale, the only feasible option for me would just be to, rent a bigger space and buy Gaylords of the stuff, because my thrift stores are tapped out. I'm in Harrisburg, any thrift store, mom and pop, within an hour and a half, I already have routed out. So unless I'm willing to drive 2.5 hours, go stay down in Philly, my old neighborhood, for the night, I'm kind of SOL when it comes to that. But I'm perfectly okay with with that being who I am, with the business model I have. Sure, I can try to land some bulk buys, kind of like Eric. He's basically lives on Facebook Marketplace, but he's in a bigger area, right? Like, I've been looking on Facebook trying to find something. He's by Vegas, so all the gamblers want to sell all their CDs to him for nothing, so they can go spin slots at the casino. I think like Vegas might be the ultimate place to hustle and bustle bulk buys, because everybody wants the money for the strip clubs and the casinos. Yeah, I don't know. Scaling it's been on my mind. I'd lie if I say selling $10,000 a month, like, it's fine by me, right? I can live comfortably off it, but hell, if I can do something to make 20K in sales a month, like, I'm open to it. So it's just been on my mind lately. I know we all kind of think about what does scaling up look for us, and we're all in different spots. Some of us might just go from 1 box to 2 boxes every 2 weeks, something along those lines. And like I said, you don't gotta buy a storefront like Johnny. You can just have your bike in the apartment like Luke and scale up that way, right? It's different for everybody. Big Dre says, I sourced CDs for the first time and ended up finding Korean movies that were in CD jewel cases. I bought all of them for $20 plus an autographed Robert Keane CD. Total comps for everything is $250. I personally have never. I've seen. I don't know if it's Korean books. I went to school for Mandarin Chinese. I can read a little bit of. I can tell if it's Mandarin, but I never came across Korean. I've come across like K-pop stuff I guess that's Korean, but I never even tried to sell them. And the K-pop stuff I did sell, I sold on eBay as well. So yeah, it's probably better on eBay for that. I have no idea who Robert Keane is, so no idea who Robert Keane is. But yeah, autograph stuff does well. I'd be lying if I sent in some signed CDs this past week. I didn't know who they were. They weren't nobody fancy, so I just sent them in, and whoever buys the random religious group, music CD gets it signed by all the guys and girls in the band. So yeah. Mary says she just ordered DVDs to get ungated. I will say this, Mary, make sure that you don't give up if they deny you the first try. It takes multiple tries sometimes to get ungated. We've had people try over 20 times, so if you don't get approved right away, don't feel like you're doing something wrong. Reach out to me or post it over in the Discord, and we'll kind of give you a little bit of direction on how to word things differently or send in some different photos. But yeah, DVDs and CDs are kind of taking off for a lot of us this year, and we used to never even sell them. Can I ask a question about deleted and abandoned shipments? Sure, Luke, go for it.
Hey, Mike. So what I've been doing for a bit was with the split shipments, I would kind of refresh them until it was only maybe like 2 to 4 items that were sent to another warehouse, and the bulk of it was sent to one place. And so I would create those shipments in Exceller list, and then send it to the Amazon thing. And then I was canceling the smaller shipments. First of all, is that something like I'll get in trouble with Amazon for doing?
I believe they do track that now.
Okay, because recently I just got a couple errors that about the shipments, which they called deleted and abandoned shipments. And so for those, should I just there's like an acknowledge thing, just acknowledge those?
Yeah,
and then
don't ever leave them in like working.
Okay. So now I have it set on my Amazon FBA account so that I'll pay the fee so it won't split shipments.
Yeah,
in
so
the
yeah,
future.
so you don't even got to
So
worry about it. But I would go back and make sure if you have any in like working status, just delete them out because they do max out how many of those they allow you to have. Mikey ran into that where I guess he was being a cheap ass like you and trying to play the game, and he had a bunch of working shipments, and it wouldn't even let him create a new shipment. So
yeah.
yeah, I do think they
So
are
so
tracking that too.
so I never left them in with the working status. I would always cancel them right away afterwards. But like this is the first time I've got those type of errors for it. Might be a new Amazon thing.
It
So
is. I remember seeing something when they rolled out the whole new split thing, and they were talking about canceling shipments and deleting shipments. I'll see if I can dig it up for you, Luke, and if I can find it, I'll shoot you it on Discord.
cool. Thanks, Mike.
Shotdown says, I remember when I bought 10 DVDs to get ungated. I think I still have them 2 years later, but sold many, many DVDs since. It was worth it. I donated mine to, well, my second in Charles used to have a free bin outside, and that's where my 10, I forget, it was like some kind of, I think it was like a Jesus movie adaptation that I got for $1.99 each, and they went right to the free bin at second and Charles. There is a conception that whatever you buy to get ungated, you have to sell. That's not the case at all. You can just, I mean, if you got a bunch of people, you know, that's 10 Christmas presents for 10 people you might not like that much, right? 10 crappy DVDs you bought online. Here you go. I got you something this year. It's a great movie. You should sit down and watch all 2.5 hours of it, right? So you can do whatever you want with them, but don't feel like you bought it to get ungated, like Amazon's expecting you to send that stuff in to sell. That's not the case. You're literally just using that to get ungated.
I spent $2,700 today just trying to get ungated. 2,700.
I would ask the brand, but I'll let you keep the sauce to yourself.
No.
I spent 972 ungated everything.
All video games.
Yeah, all video games, and I use that same invoice to ungate all movies, all DVDs, even like Canon cameras, Breville, All Clad, KitchenAid. But once you get that invoice, you have the token at that point.
Josh
That's a
says,
lot.
just pay the fees, not to split the shipments. Josh, I've been saying that forever, but we got a lot of cheapos in the group, right? That's why I got to keep it at $2.99. I can't raise the price because then everybody runs away. If I raise it to $3.49, all of a sudden, right, everybody starts disappearing. So I got to keep the cheapos hanging on here. But I think everybody does eventually come around to it. Once you start, it's a balancing act, though, right? Like as you're trying to build capital and get cash flow when you first start, it's a-okay not to pay, you know, the split shipment fee, 100%. And I talk about it all the time, right? I use Seller Central. Like, how many people that were in the group when I started it had listing software before I did, right? Like, Tommy Boy used to tell me about it like every day of my life, right? He's like, you on listing software yet? I'm like, no, Tommy, I'm too cheap. I'm too cheap. And I finally got around to doing it. So there is something to be said about waiting too long, but I think it also works the other way. Like, if you just start selling, like you don't need all the bells and whistles, right? You don't need Keepa, you don't need Seller Aim, you don't need Inventory Labs, you don't need all of the fancy stuff. I mean, I used the live version of Scout IQ forever because it was cheaper. It was like, you need the database. I'm like, well, everywhere I go, there's internet. Why do I need to pay the extra $25 a month for the database if I have internet everywhere, right? I guess I'm just a cheap ass, and it's just logical thinking in my mind. Like, sure, the database is cool, but like, that's an extra $20 in my pocket. I still have that mentality of just being dead broke.
That's not being cheap. That's, you know, there's good money to spend, and then there's other kinds of money to spend.
Yeah, for sure. And it's all a balancing act. And sure, you got the cash coming in, and you got the inventory. Then 100%, you need a listing software. You need a repricing software. And I mean, I feel bad for some people that start selling and like they got $100 a month repricer. They got, you know, the $75 a month inventory labs. I'm thinking to myself, like, that's $175 right there alone that you could go spend on profitable inventory and just spend a little bit more time listing it the harder way and kind of understanding how Amazon works. And I think there's a lot to be said about actually understanding the platform you sell on, right? So I don't know. It's a balancing act, and I think if you're new, you don't need any kind of software to start out besides just the scanning software, and they all have free trials. And with the listing software, there's no right or wrong answer, right? I can't. We probably have every listing software covered in this group of just people sitting here on this call. We probably have one of us probably uses every different listing software out there because we all have different preferences. We all have different things going on in the business, right? So it's cool to see different things work and don't feel like what I do, you got to do. What software I use, you got to use. That's not the case at all. There's nothing wrong with trying things out, and the benefit is they all have free trial. So try them all out. You probably could get away with a year of free listing software if you just tried every different one. Well, I used Inventory Labs in January, go to it February, like the whole list, and you don't got to pay for any of it. Because anyone here use Turbo Lister. If you do, that makes two of you. You and Brian. He's not on the call tonight. Turbo Lister is a huge opportunity, I think, for Scoutly to get more people to use their service. Maybe I should DM the guy that runs Scoutly. It's clunky and it's not optimized, but when you think about it, like the main focus for him is the scouting software, not the listing software. So that's why like I'm a big proponent of ScanLister because it's only $24 a month. So even if you use the light version of Scoutly at $10, ScanLister at 24 puts you at $34. You got listing and scouting software for media, which is as cheap as it's going to get. All right, I'm going to open the chat. Deb said they can see chat on YouTube, so I'm scared to open this because there's 23 notifications in this Zoom chat, and I know Luke's a wise ass, so here goes me getting.
This is going to be fun.
Oh,
let's do this.
God, here we go. Does anyone here use? Go ahead, Bev. What were you going to say?
ScanLister went up. It's I think $27.95 now.
Okay, so $28.
Yeah, $28. But I'm stuck with it because I started using it from the beginning.
It works. I mean, it works the way it should. It just doesn't have all the bells and whistles of some of the other ones. And I don't think there's any. I think all the listing software works besides Turbo Lister, what Johnny even says. Turbo Lister is for peasants and almost. Oh my God! All right, the chat's gone for the night. Way to go, Johnny! You ruined it for everybody.
Good. I'm glad I could do this. This was great.
Josh said I couldn't even figure out how to get Turbo Lister installed on my computer, much less use it. Yeah, it's not his focus, and I don't blame him. But yeah, everybody has different listing softwares, and there's benefits to each and every single one of them. But on the topic of scaling, Johnny, what's your plan to scale this year?
Well, it was one. Now it's the other. Landlord approached me. They were going to retire and they want to sell me the building. So that's how I plan to expand space. I was going to go the employee route, but this was unprecedented, or not unprecedented, unpredictable. So, yeah, we're going to triple our space and utilize it a little more allocated to the storefront, a lot more storage, and a bigger processing area because we've always been kind of tight for how we process. We made it work, but this will be a lot nicer once all of that is settled and done. So those are my plans.
I do think
that's huge.
I do think there is something to be said about having some capital set aside when you start thinking about expanding and scaling your business, because with growth, it's going to take money to expand and get some of these opportunities that arise. And it all starts small, right? I'm thinking about small scaling. For me, when I started, it was one box every 2 weeks. Any single person here or brand new to Amazon can do one box every 2 weeks, right? The first few will be a pain in the behind to figure out, but one box is nothing. Everybody here knows that. Like that's like 10 books, 10 DVDs, 10 CDs in your box, one box every 2 weeks to start out. I did one box a day for 44 days. Why only one box a day? Why didn't you do 44 boxes in one day?
Because it took a lot to sort and process everything.
Fair enough. Is that like 3 books a day in the box? I mean, basically, right?
No, that was all video games. That was 120 video games a box.
No, I was talking about doing one box every 2 weeks. It's like 3 books a day in the box. You could do 3 books a day in a box.
For sure. I mean, even some of us that can't get out all the time or have the resources. I mean, one thrift store can probably get you a box if you're doing books, DVDs, and CDs. And even if you just commit to going to one thrift store and whatever you have, I think this is another good thing, is whatever you have, send it in. Don't let it sit there until you can get back around to getting out. You got 20 items, 30 items, 15 items, get it sent in. It ain't making you no money sitting there in your house. And once it's gone, it's never coming back. So you never have to see the old stinky books, CDs, DVDs ever again. That's the best part of sealing that box up, is that, well, it was nice knowing you, and you ain't ever coming back here. It's it adds up. That's what I want to say. It's like the equivalent of the eBay death pile. Amazon, the prices go to the bottom. So the longer you let it sit there, the more trouble you're going to get in when it comes to, well, I got around to listing my stuff that's been sitting here for a month, and then you go to list it and like everything's tanked, and then you're miserable, and you're like, well, this was profitable when I bought it a month ago, and now it's not. The check-in times for Amazon have been great. I don't know if anybody's kind of experiencing slow check-in times, but my stuff's out Monday, and I'm usually receiving by Thursday or Friday. If it goes to Jersey, sometimes Saturday, maybe the next week. But Amazon's been on top of the check-in times for me.
Yeah, my full time is like 72 hours. From when I ship it in until it's live is like 72 hours.
And,
Are you like next door to the...
Basically, I'm like
okay.
2 hours away.
Okay, it makes more sense now, because, man, it takes me a while.
He tapes a dollar bill on top of all the boxes.
Is that what you do? Okay.
Hey, whatever.
I'm gonna $2 bill.
bills.
Yep.
Whatever it takes to scale. Double down on organization to scale. That is like, I know I always sound like a broken record now talking about processes, but I mean, that's the only way you're going to be able to scale, is having some sort of process of how you're dealing with everything that comes in every week and where you're spending your time. And I know we all don't have 50, 60 hours a week to put into this. So leverage your time as best as you can and build the business around you. Don't you build around the business. I think that's a big thing where we just always get dragged along for the ride, right? Well, pick up here, pick up there, pick up here, pick up there. Well, build it around you. Well, if you can't get out often, then do some bulk buys, right? Eric, he went to do a bulk buy. He works full time. He wants to go full time reselling on Amazon. Well, how can he possibly scale? He's got to fit in these little pickups when he can outside of his job. He's not cutting out the work. He just says, all right, pick and choose your spots. And the benefit, if you don't have a lot of time starting out, is if you do a bulk buy or a bulk pickup, you have the inventory at home, right? Maybe you have an obligation. Maybe you have kids or pets that need attention or some kind of care. You're taking care of somebody. If you already have the inventory at home, you can step away here and there to kind of knock some of the work out. You don't got to drive to the thrift store, cross your fingers, hope you can find something. You already have the inventory there. You just got to process it. And that's kind of like a hack when it comes to having obligations in life and still making a decent living on Amazon, is having the inventory already at your home base to process. And that'll just kind of level you up when you have an hour at night or an hour in the morning. All you got to do is just, knock it out. Your dream job is still a job. I mean, I don't call what I do a job, but it's I
don't mind a business, actually, but okay, teach their own.
Jameson's working a job now. Jameson finally got a job. It is work though, right? As much as I sit here and try to say, like, I only work 20 hours a week. Look at me, check me out. I think there's a lot of, I've been doing this for over 5 years now, and it's taken this long to get it to where I'm at today. Like, I've exhausted, I know all my thrift stores. I have as many connections as I possibly can have. It's a process. It's not as get rich quick kind of deal. We all know Amazon likes to hold your money, especially if you're new. Sell something today, you're looking at 4 weeks to get paid for it, versus eBay, where sell something today, it'll be in your account in 3 days, basically. So,
I learned that the hard way.
Yeah, you can get jammed up pretty big starting out, and that's why, whenever I talk to somebody that's just starting, I always say, it's kind of good that Amazon makes you grow slow, right? They're not going to let you dump all this money in, and if you do, you're not going to see it back for 2-3 months, sometimes longer. So anybody that's like starting out on Amazon, I was like, hey, it's fine to start slow, understand the platform, figure out your sources, what kind of products do you have available around you, what your competition look like, start building relationships, and then that's how you snowball into the business where, you're doing over 10K a month, and you can start getting some of your time back, or you can quit your job and, say bye-bye. Quit in the middle of your shift like I did, or you can be more professional and give 2 weeks notice. But I said, ain't no way I'm ever going back to CVS, and to hell with all the district managers and regional managers in that company. And yeah, I walked out in the middle of my shift, and The rest is history, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, processes, schedule, and refining both, I think, are the big three. Because if you can have something, but if you stick to something that isn't working and you're consistent with it, it's still not working. So refining both the schedule and the processes.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
don't hesitate to ask somebody like, what do they do, right? Like, if you think I'm gonna start like, if I'm gonna get into video games, like, I'm gonna be in Jameson's ear, right? Like, I'm like, "Yo, Jameson, what are you doing? How are you packing these things?" If you feel like you're inefficient or you think there's a better way, like if you think somebody else has a better process, like that's the whole purpose of the group. It doesn't even have to be me. There's people in here that have way better processes than I do, that process a lot more inventory than I do. Anybody sitting here will give you a straight up answer of exactly how they process their stuff and how they condition their stuff. So, lean on each other when it comes to if you feel like you're stuck somewhere or a process that's like sucking the life out of you. You're like, damn, I'm testing all these CDs and DVDs. When all it would take is you just asking, like, hey, is anybody else testing their CDs and DVDs? And we all would be like, no, you're a lunatic. Like, don't ever test another CD or DVD again. I don't know.
Yeah, and or good.
Jameson's mic died. Yeah, because you just sit on there talking to everybody all day instead of working your job. Go ahead, Johnny. What were you gonna say?
Well, even today, the employee and I sat down and we were looking at our reject pile, making sure we were both on the same page of what we would actually reject when it comes to Amazon. Because I taught her too well on eBay, she tends to have way higher standards than I do these days, so I have to dial her back a little bit. I'm like, no, this is Amazon worthy. It's not in the junk pile. This is why. Or she'll explain to me a flaw that I've missed that she's caught on. Like recently when we're opening books, I haven't been opening them all the way flat. She has, which was kind of cool to see. And she could see that the glue at the end is coming apart. And I haven't been doing that, honestly. So that was good to know. I mean, we would catch that when we're doing our eBay listings because we're handling the book in a more intricate way than we would Amazon. So that was, again, refining processes, refining both, even for just conditioning.
I
And you've corrected my lovely self on me over conditioning as well. I've called you up straight up on it. Like, is this good or not?
I should just do a video with the next pickup I have from the library. I'll do a video with the duds, and I'll like show what I'm willing to send at good condition and what I'm not willing to send. So I think that'll be helpful because you guys will probably be amazed at the stuff. If it ain't water damage, it's good condition. That's basically what
Yeah.
the overall gist of it.
Or somebody highlighted every single page. Yeah, it's pretty much, yeah.
Even then, I got highlighting in the condition note, Johnny. Everybody reads the condition
Every
notes.
single page, every single word, you're sending that in?
Everybody reads the condition notes, dude.
I mean, maybe I'll get my own highlighter and fill in the little white border edges, and then
No,
it's
if
just
it's all
solid
highlighted,
color.
I remember this one time I bought a book, and this was back in the heydays of reselling, where you just fill up your cart with profitable books, right? You're walking out the Goodwill with your full cart, and I got home, and like there had to be at least 50 pages that were dog-eared, and I sat there for like 20 minutes peeling back every single corner of every other page. It was dreadful. Josh, does anybody here sell books on Whatnot? I was watching an auction the other night and it seemed interesting. I know Max is doing it, Common Ground Finds. There's also somebody that's doing magazines as well. I think it's St. Louis Bookkeeper on Instagram. He also does a lot of Whatnot. I think there is some, I don't know, man. Won't say I'm not a fan of it because I've seen the success. It's just not my cup of tea. Like, I guess being around on YouTube's enough for me instead of me sitting there and saying, I guess you got to be passionate about the books too, right? Because I'm like, here's a book. I just want to make some money on it, right? I don't know nothing about like who the author is or like anything like that.
I'll give my 2 cents on Whatnot. It's good for eliminating your junk. However, it's going to eat your time. So for me, doing a whole Whatnot thing to get rid of my junk is not a good investment of my time because I'm more profitable doing other things, even though you can garner some money from it. Um, I think there are better alternatives out there. Is it a bad alternative to clear some cash off the stuff you're not going to sell on your main platform? No, that's not what I'm saying. I just think there might be better avenues. That's my 2 cents.
I'll say this, Josh. You got the YouTube channel, so that could help you get traction on the platform. It's just kind of like YouTube world where you got to start at the bottom and kind of work your way up with, putting in endless hours of videos. And for that, it's just live streaming, and that can be draining. Sitting there dealing with, live chats for hours on a day. Like I couldn't do it. I'd lose my mind. Uh,
You're also going to lose money starting out. I mean, not lose money, but you're going to sell things for like $1 or $2, not 10, 15, or $20 when you first start.
Browns has sold 72K, took home 32K my first year. Can't beat that. 1 year selling on Amazon. That's basically more than minimum wage. I test DVDs if a DVD is worth it. I take back everything I said, Brown. You are a psychomaniac. There's no way. I don't care how fast the software is. Just the 5 seconds of me opening the disc tray and putting the DVD in and waiting for it to spin for another 5 seconds. I just couldn't do it. I don't even. I mean, some weekends I'm sending in like 500 pieces of disc media. Like, I would go nuts. I think it's one of those things, as you scale, you'll move away from it. I think it's one of those things where you start out and like every CD and DVD is like your firstborn child, and you got to make sure it gets there safely and it works perfectly. Now, the quicker you can get away from that mentality, the faster you're going to be able to, scale up and get your time back. My day job qualified as an essential job during COVID, so I ended up working even more while others were losing their jobs, which gave me a new appreciation for my job. Fair enough. Hey, there's plenty of people that have jobs that resell on the side just to make some extra money. There's nothing wrong with it. I don't knock nobody that's got a normal job. More power to you. Can't beat the benefits in some of these jobs, right? Amazon's not going to match your 401k. It ain't never going to happen, right? The healthcare, you're self-employed, that ain't cheap. You got them benefits at a normal job too. So there's a lot to be said about having an actual job. And believe it or not, I'm right by the international airport here, and a lot of people work at the FedEx part-time because FedEx will offer benefits part-timers. So a lot of people wind up working at the FedEx to get benefits because it's a lot cheaper than being self-employed and going through the marketplace, and that'll cost you an arm and a leg. So yeah, there's nothing wrong with having a normal job that you enjoy and just doing this on the side. It works both ways, and there's benefits and cons to each way. I source on my days off and ship out orders as soon as I get home from work. That's where I started. CVS, 50 hours a week, dragging Deb to the thrift stores whenever I could. There's sacrifices to be made until you get to that point. I don't think it's never going to be like a smooth sailing transition of I'm going to start reselling and I'm just going to do an extra 5 hours a week and I'm going to be able to quit my job. No, you're going to have to add on 20 hours. And as you get closer, you're not going to have the Unsolved Mystery nights, right? You're not going to be able to sit down and watch Unsolved Mysteries at night. The Bob Ross channel. Sorry, Bob, but, I'm trying to get out of this job, right? There's a lot to be said about, sacrificing. Sacrifices have to be made to switch from one job to another if you're going to be self-employed. Bob is crying now. No slander on Bob, dude. He passed away. He's one of the best damn artists there ever was. All right? You wish you'd be half the man Bob Ross ever was, Luke. All right? Let's just clear that up.
He's just mad because they didn't film Bob Ross in Canada.
The Bob Ross documentary on Netflix, man, they screwed that guy over big time behind the scenes. He got screwed over in a lot of business deals that came along with his fame. But yeah, it sucks. It's all a balancing act, and it's tough. I can't put myself in everybody's shoes, right? I don't have kids. I have cats. I don't have, I'm not taking care of anybody else. Some people have tons of different obligations. Is it possible in any situation to resell full time? I do believe so, but there's a lot of different things that, go into getting to that point. How much are you willing to work in a week on top of your normal job? How many things, do you got to sacrifice today to get there when it comes to, spending money or doing different things?
Having some buffer while you're figuring it out in that first 3 to 6 months as you go full time. So you need money in the bank before you pull that trigger.
I will say this. I do feel like I think there's a smarter approach now to people that want to resell full time. As weird as it sounds, like reselling still has the idea of like, oh, you can resell stuff online and make a lot of money. But I do think there kind of has been a slowdown in the temperament. I think the realistic expectations have come down somewhere. People aren't like, I'm quitting my job today, Johnny, and I'm going to resell full time. Like, I do think people now realize I got to have my job to build up my business to quit.
Yeah.
And I think 3 years ago, 4 years ago, at the boom of reselling, people were just like lunatics. Like, I'm reselling, I'm quit my job today. I do think it kind of has come back down to earth.
I mean, both you and I, we had money in the bank before we did it full time, and we both gave notice. Yours was much shorter than mine, but yeah.
Hey, listen, 10 years of my life down the drain. What are you going to do? I guess it goes to say there's always an opportunity out there, whether that's reselling, whether that's another job. If you're not happy with what you're doing, betting on yourself, it's a risky bet, but you'll never work harder than when you work for yourself, and you'll never think, and that goes with, hiring employees. You can't have the mindset that somebody's going to work as hard as you. And even when I was at CVS, I always told everybody this. I can't expect to be like, everybody's going to bust their ass like me, right? I'm the store manager. I can't expect everybody to put in 150%, come in on their days off, do all this, and accepting that, okay, I'm going to be the hardest working employee in my business. That's how you're going to win. Even when you hire people, don't have the expectation that they're going to be like, yeah, sure, I love sitting here for 12 hours a day with Johnny in this little warehouse, right? Like, you don't have that expectation for anybody but yourself, and you'll be fine.
Notice I'm still at the warehouse. She went home a few hours ago. She gets to go home. I get to stay.
Dude, she's probably got a stopwatch on. She's like, shit, 5, 4, 3. She's already running for the door, dude.
Yeah, her smartwatch has an alarm, and at 59 minutes, she's already picking up her thing because she knows the exact amount of seconds it takes her to walk over to the door to get out on time.
Brown's, he says this every time we have one of these. He does very well selling light bulbs. Has anybody sold light bulbs on Amazon?
I'd be scared, man. Just shipping it in the box.
I'd be lying if I said, because he says it all the time. He'll even comment on some of the videos, and he'll be like, dude, light bulbs. I'd be lying if I said I don't look at the light bulbs just because of him on YouTube. I'm like, is there any money in these damn things? Because he's always talking about these light bulbs. Dude, where are you getting the light bulbs from? You got to give us more details, right? We promise we won't.
Light bulb factory.
The light bulb factory. I'd be scared. Listen, the way Amazon ships their stuff, like, and now they're to the point where you can just have the label like on the actual product. Like, you just get a light bulb and the label's attached right to the light bulb. Like, Bulb Mart. Yeah, it's not my cup of tea. Tommy boy, you sell electronics. You ever sell light bulbs?
As a matter of fact, I have. And he's correct that Walmart was the place to get them. And if you catch the right sale, yeah, you can make some money.
Dude, you've been holding out. Or is Brown your alternate ego on YouTube? I mean, come on. Light bulbs, how to get rich quick.
Tommy's smart enough not to give away everything he sells, though.
Well,
like Tommy.
Johnny was saying about a week or so ago that I should quit, or I should know when it's time to quit, or something along those lines, I believe.
Yeah, Johnny, on the podcast.
What did I say? I don't even remember.
Oh.
Yeah, see? Let's see.
I'm sure I was right, but I don't remember what I said.
Restore, that's a good call out. Restore is it's hit or miss. It's like a Habitat for Humanity, and they do like house remodels. And I actually went to mine for the first time in a few months, and they actually had a bunch of media, like, and it's all $1 video games. I got some PSP games, and they do have light bulbs there, so that's a good call. Josh says, no way I would sell light bulbs. Lorenzo says, I sold $10,000 on one SKU of hand soap last month. Listen, this business is crazy. If you don't think people are out here, Jamie's on the call now, like, he's in the Dollar Trees, right? Like, there's money to be made. You just have to find out what excites you and what opportunities you have. And for Jamie, it's the Dollar Tree. I mean, who the hell sits in who even asked to get in the back room of a Dollar Tree? Like, that's Jamie. He'll do it for you, and he'll get all the fresh Dollar Tree inventory that comes in.
I now have backroom access to $6 trees in one big lot.
Dude, you're amazing. I love it. I love it.
Dollar Tree Bandit, and then one Big Lots. So,
One big lots.
they're probably like, this crazy ass dude. Why the hell does he want to be in our back room? Everything's a dollar. Well, now the Dollar Tree's got like the expensive aisle where things are more than a
You know
dollar.
what? You need backroom access to a Michaels.
I will say this though, right? Like they do get one-offs, right? I sold all those condoms I got from the Dollar Tree. Those never showed up again. So like I guess there is a benefit to getting some of the name brand stuff that they only get a limited amount in.
Jamie, can't you also order cases yourself when you had that backroom access? Ah, there he is. I've
Sorry,
heard
can you say
this.
that again? I'm actually in Big Lots right now.
Isn't it true that if you have backroom access, can't you order cases of whatever product you want for yourself and they'll put it off to the side for you?
Oh yeah, yeah. But most of the stuff you can get straight off the website. But what happens in my case is when they get the cases in, the stuff they know that's going to sell well, they just hold it until I get there.
Mhm. I've had some friends that do that.
Restore is my bulk book source. Yeah, some restores have a lot of media. Mine just doesn't even have a spot for it. They had like one little four-sided spinner thing, and I mean, I made out like a bandit was on the way to where I was going. I just stopped in just because some people have killer restores, and it's just like, I wish my restore was like this, but I guess a lot of people don't read in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, so I lose out. They just take all their doors and light bulbs and sell them. I
And
only
yes, Luke, there's money to be made in those.
I only ever sold one light bulb, and it was the size of a football, and it had a wooden stand. I was shocked it didn't bust during shipping. I have backroom at a restore. I do DVDs for them. It's crazy. If you were just walking in a thrift store and leaving a thrift store without having a conversation, you are missing out on a huge opportunity because once you get one, then you get two. Once you get two, then you get three. And if you don't think there's somebody else out there that's willing to just be like, hey, what's going on? I see you guys have a lot of books, a lot of DVDs, a lot of CDs. Like, and I thought to myself when I first started, because a lot of people push, oh, get backroom access, right? Oh, just walk in a library and take all their donations. It makes it sound so easy. You got to build a rapport with these people. Don't go up there with one book and be like, yo, you got any more in the back? Like, the time you go in and you spend $100, that's when you have the conversation with the lady at the checkout. Like, hey, I'm interested in buying everything you got in the back. Like, how often do you get this stuff? And then all of a sudden, that's just how things happen.
You know what I've done before? I've walked up to the front counter and I've asked them, "Can you help me push all of your shopping carts to the book area, please?" Why? Because I want to buy all your books. They'll do it for you if you say that.
It's it's nuts. It's the opportunities. They're all right in front of us, and they're just a conversation away. I mean, it doesn't take much. I tell everybody have the free ads out there. Yeah, you might think nobody's ever on Craigslist, but go on Book Sale Finder. How many of those libraries post their sales on Craigslist? All of a sudden, you're in a library. Well, then you're in two libraries. And then you don't even got to worry about the thrift stores. You go to the thrift stores once every month just to, get out the good stuff. And then, you got your bulk coming in that's fresh inventory. So I can't say it enough to network, be open about what you do, and don't be afraid to tell people what you do. I mean, I don't think there's any shame in reselling. I think society has gotten over that now, especially since, everybody's living paycheck to paycheck. I think people appreciate the hustle now more than they did, when the whole pandemic was here and everybody's scalping crazy prices for Lysol and toilet paper. I think we're all over that now. So I just tell people, it's what I do for a living. I support my family. It's what I do. It's all I do to support my family. So I'm not telling any lies. I'm being straight up with people. And if you got pets, I feel like whenever I talk to an old lady about, my cats, it's like instant access, right? Like the conversation's never going to end. Like all of a sudden, she's like, yeah, I got books. You want them? Oh, you got cats too? Oh, yeah, I love this guy. Josh says someone's buying books bulk from your restore. Well, they can have them all. I don't want bulk books. I'll leave that to you and Johnny.
Okay, I'll split it with Josh. It's fine.
Deb's next comment is, "I'm glad they are because those books aren't coming into my house."
Deb, didn't you know I was mailing Mike his first Gaylord of books for his birthday?
Unopened VHS tapes are gold as well. I don't mess with VHS tapes. As far as I go, I look for Halloween horror VHS, and that's it. I don't even care if there's unopened ones. I look for ones for myself to have, and I don't mess. I will say I do. I'll look at cassettes. I'll scan cassettes all day long, but VHS, I don't know. It's just not my cup of tea.
I've scanned numerous brand new VHS, and I've yet to find one that was worth any money.
Well, someone just backed you up and said, "Now, one of 100 VHS might be worth a few bucks." VHS is a waste of
I
time.
think those blank, if they're sealed, those blank recording VHS might be worth it. But outside of that,
Yeah,
I don't
that's
know.
what he just said. And I will say this: technically, you cannot ship blank media as media mail.
Really?
Yes. Try selling it on Amazon and buying the shipping. They won't let you choose media mail.
What do they make you choose? Ground Advantage?
Or well, in my case, it was priority because it was like one of those 8-packs.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
Oh, and this is
dude.
probably before they had the changes too. Okay.
You've been breaking the law, so I will be reporting you to USPS.com, .gov, whatever it is. Anybody got any headaches, anything people are running into, any kind of crazy deals out there to be had that you want to share with the whole world, even though I know you're all greedy little buggers with your bolos and everything. I sold $80 Scooby-Doo DVD set, Season 2. I put it in the Discord, so always scan Scooby-Doo. I've always scanned Scooby-Doo. I think because I like Scooby-Doo growing up, like I think Scooby-Doo's a good show, and I finally found one that sold for $80. So, and it sold within 2 weeks of it getting checked in. So, scan the Scooby-Doo and the Wiggles. I sent in more Wiggles last week. The Wiggles is always guaranteed money. I got the one with the Crocodile Dundee. I sold that one multiple times. So, I seen him on the cover with the Wiggle guys. I'm like, all right, this is a $20 bill all day long.
If you want to deal with libraries, now's a prime time to deal with it because Discover Books is going out of business. So
Yeah,
they
I don't
need
even.
somebody
Who
to
is
do that.
Discover Books, dude? Give some details.
Oh, for those at home who have no idea who Discover Books are,
Like me.
they're like a, well, they sell online just like we do, just at a much larger scale. And they network with a lot of libraries, and they had multiple eBay stores. One of them had 8.4 million sold items. They deal exclusively, well, I don't know if it's exclusively, they deal with libraries mainly. So now the libraries are hurting for somebody to fulfill the service they were providing, taking their excess book, because libraries get too many donations. And they have the same issue all of us have as resellers: space. Where do we put it all? So they were using Discover Books to offset some of the library's quote unquote less desirable items. And then they would turn around and flip it online just like we do, with the huge staff members and all that. Very, very big company. So there's going to be a lot of libraries looking for people to help.
Get involved. Volunteer once a month. All of a sudden, the book sale comes along, and you're helping set up the book sale. Then you get to shop it early, and then the sky's the limit. You become their book person, and it takes off from there. But yeah.
Fortunately, none are in Texas, and I don't want to do out-of-state stuff with those guys. So good luck.
I mean, like, how the hell am I even supposed to know if they even are partnered with Discovery Books? You might as well just work your way up like you normally would.
Probably. And they'll let you know. No, we got somebody. Oh, no, we just had a Discover Books leave us. Come be my friend.
Deb says, I dressed up as Scooby-Doo for Halloween in college. Yes, I did. I had like, it was like a onesie, right? It was, I don't know if I have any photos. Deb might be able to dig one up. If so, it was a nice costume. I paid up for it. It was like 60, 70 bucks for Scooby-Doo. Because it was like I swear to God, funny story, right? So I'm toasted, right? I'm like, I don't even know how many beers. And we're walking to this house party on the main strip in East Lansing. It's like 10 degrees out because Halloween at that time in Michigan, October, you're freezing your ass off. And we're just walking to a party, and I kid you not, Some dude was dressed up as Shaggy walking walking the sidewalk the other way. We linked up. We had a good time. I don't remember anything after that. I just remember I met some dude dressed up as Shaggy.
I bet he stole your candy.
Halloween's a big deal in college, and it's cold up in Michigan around Halloween. Um, that was how Mike met Deb. No, that was after my college days. All right, let's see what we got on the chat here before we roll out of here. I definitely see a lot of teenagers and 20-year-olds reselling, which is proof times are getting tougher. When I was that age, I was too busy having fun shopping at a thrift shop back when that was uncool. Yeah, it's the generational difference. I do think it's become trendy, right? I think Whatnot is trendy. You got these platforms like Depop, got a little bit of trend to it. Mercari, Poshmark, and all of us old timers are stuck on eBay and Amazon. So it changes, does it is what it is. I'm buying Gaylords of used books for $50. Selling them on Amazon, eBay, and buy back your book. Is there another good company I can also sell to? I mean, $50, you're being awfully greedy. You're probably making a killing on this stuff. You're trying to squeeze every single penny out of it. Refine them processes and don't even worry about the other money. Get your money out of Amazon, get your money out of eBay, do one buyback company, cut the rest loose, and process more Gaylords. That would be my advice. Get your time down and process more, because that's how you're going to make more money, not chasing the nickel or 10 cent a buyback company is going to give you. I tried buyback places, ridiculous. Give you a dime for a book or DVD with a minimum shipment. Take 70 books to get to $7. I do think there is it's a balancing act, honestly, when it comes to buyback companies, because like you said, you need to get to $7, $7.50. I just appreciate them for like the American Girl books that I stumble across that I'm gated in, or a textbook that's worth it. That's worth over $7.50 by itself. I got no problem just throwing one book in a poly mailer and mailing it to them. That's my extent of buyback companies currently, and it can be a time sink. So value your time more. If you can process more and not chase the nickel and dime from the buyback companies, to hell with them. You're never going to get it back. Shopping at thrift stores is cool now. It is. I mean, it's trendy. People like the old. I mean, just look at the whole vintage movement. Like, vintage t-shirts, vintage anything. It's nuts how many people are now like dressing like like it's Y2K, right? Year 2000. Everybody wants all that hip, cool, weird looking stuff. Boogeyman 31 shirts. Luke, you were just a wise ass of the night. Halloween is one of the greatest horror movies ever made. It molded the horror genre to this day. All right. So, I mean, listen, I know you like our Canadian bright shining light, but you're pushing the limits here, buddy. I made a lot of money on buybacks, Textbook Rush, Pals Books, Sell Back Your Book, and a couple other. I'll tell you right now, there's people out there that have half-price books. They'll take as many books as you can show up with. Imagine a business where you buy a Gaylord from your town, you process it, you take everything, you take the rest of the Gaylord to half-price books, and they buy every single piece of that. I'm here to tell you, there's people in this group that do that. They literally process the Gaylord, take all the good stuff. The Gaylord goes straight to half-price books, and then they get paid, and they make more money from half-price books than they paid for the Gaylord.
You could do that all in a day. You could do one Gaylord. If you got a U-Haul, you can then just U-Haul to half-price books. Done and done. Drop your U-Haul off.
Second and Charles, I can't do that. If I could, I would. But they allow 3 little bins.
Tubs.
3 tubs. I mean, how many times do I got to go to get my $20? If I could take the carload and get $100 and come back in 2 or 3 days, I'd do it all day long. But 3 tubs at a time, I mean, you got to be.
No, it's why you have your disguise kit in your truck. So the next time you come in, you have a mustache, so you could do 6, and then you have your dreadlock wig.
It's all tied to your ID. They scan your ID. You got no shot.
You just need some fake IDs. Oh wait, we're recording.
The only time I ever go to Goodwill is that's where I take my duds all the time. And if you take them there, they'll give you a slip. You're going to need tax write-offs at the end of the year for donations. So you're not making money, but you're making money, right? So that's the only time I go to Goodwill is just to drop off my duds.
For sure. Fabio, I haven't seen you in a while, Fabio. I hope you're staying out of trouble. Did I make it live? Yes, but we're about to wrap up, so you better get your burning questions in now. Sales have been good for me this week. I'm not sure what I'm at. I think I'm right around 25 for the past 7 days. No slowdown for me. Summer's here. There won't be a slowdown on Amazon, especially as you scale. Last 7 days, I'm at 24.60 with this evening still to go. So that's kind of right where I like to be, right around $2,500 every single week. My local used bookstore has cut me down to trade in only 4 milk crates of books once a week. They're like, Josh, we can't handle all the duds you're giving us. But used bookstores, call, ask, hey, you guys do trade-ins? Because what you can do with the trade-in money is go buy the profitable books they have on their shelves, and they'll be more inclined to take all your junk if you do trade in, because they're not giving you physical money right then and there.
And make sure it's full credit, not this 90% trade, 10% cash. Yeah.
Yeah, I want one or the other. You're either giving me cash or I'm getting credit. I'm just trying to do this mathematical calculus to figure out how much trade I got versus cash, and then they're giving you coins, and it's just a huge mess.
No, in my area, it's not even that. It's bad. They're only giving you like 90% store credit on what you can, or 50 sometimes. And then when you go to buy stuff, they'll only use half of your credit, and then the other half of the bill has to be in cash. That's
Oh
how
yeah, I remember you were telling me about that.
it's the stupidest thing I've ever heard of.
Because they want the cash, and
They want some money for everything you buy.
Yeah, they're not gonna let you just cash out fully on the trade. Yeah, that's weird. I buy on open games at Goodwill. I don't know what Goodwills you're at, but don't say your location, because I haven't found a new sealed video game in Goodwill in like 60 years. All right, I think we're gonna wrap it up here. Tomorrow's my birthday, so make sure if you have a question, you message Johnny on Discord, call him, do whatever you want. I'm just gonna have I'm gonna change my voicemail for the day and give out my number, and it's just gonna be here is Johnny's phone number. Please call him at beep 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 beep.
And I'll be very kind and courteous as I answer every single phone call to each one of you.
Dude, that's a lie.
I know. I'm glad it's recorded that I lied to everybody just now.
Liar. Yeah, and 90% crap, but it's 90-second drive, and they have $1 paperbacks. I just buy a ton of science fiction paperbacks. Yeah, for sure. It's feasible if it makes sense. Don't drive 15 minutes to Second and Charles to drop off 3 bins to get $20 when you got to come back in 3 hours to get your $20 anyway. That's not worth it. It was cool while it lasted, and I did it for a while, and I would just spend the money on like stupid stuff I wanted. I got this T-shirt for free from Second and Charles, so like there's some perks to it, but I guess I'll end on this. I had a guy come pick up all my duds, and his plan was to sell them at Second and Charles and list them on eBay. And I got my library pickup came this month, and I said, hey, I'm gonna get this every month. You want to take this stuff every month? Yeah. Well, guess who didn't respond to my call or my text message this month? That guy. So I guess you.
I guess you're gonna mail me some books, aren't you, Mike?
No, they're already gone. I took them to the Better World book donation bin. But I have found another guy that is willing to take all my duds. I do disclose.
Yeah, just find one sucker each library thing.
Listen,
there you go.
I don't scam people. I tell them like, hey, I scan this stuff for Amazon, right? Like, if you plan on reselling these on Amazon, you're not going to make money. But this guy thought he was going to make a crap load of money going to Second and Charles and doing whatever he's going to do with them. So, yeah. All right, I'm out of here. Everybody, appreciate you. Enjoy the rest of your evening. I'm going to go watch a scary movie. Me and Deb have been watching. I guess we'll do a little bit of horror movies, TV shows. What is everybody watching before I say mine? Anything good?
Them on Amazon. It's a horror thing. I like it. Them. Yeah, the first season's in the 60s. The second season's in the 90s. All supernatural. Usually has to deal with people dying in paranormal ways. It's neat. It's a detective kind of show.
All right. Me and Deb are going to watch the 4th entry movie of the Hell House series. It's like a found footage kind of thing. It's like they're not the best quality, but listen, we like horror movies, and yeah, so that's what we'll be watching tonight. The first 3 were alright. The first one was the best so far, but they usually get worse as the sequel goes on. Finding Nemo, Josh will be watching that while he smells like old books and sewing machine parts. The Thing, I mean, I might lose some subscribers over this. I'm not a huge fan of the thing. I do think it, changed the genre, and if the effects are like awesome. I think it's a good movie. It's just not. I'm more of a slasher guy. You know, uh, Jason Takes Manhattan, where he's kicking boom boxes and punching heads off. That's my kind of thing. And killer clowns, the cheesy stuff. That's what I'm into. Foundation. I had no idea what Foundation is.
Sci-fi, Isaac Asimov.
A good TV show we're watching, a new season coming out this year is From. It's a horror series. It's on MGM. It's pretty good, Johnny. You should check it out. It's like
I think I will. It's called From.
From. Yeah, yeah.
So I'm telling you to watch them, and you're telling me to watch From.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Nope was a decent movie. Nope was a horror movie. Had some decent acting in it. Just one word and everything, I guess. Hereditary was awful. Please don't unsubscribe. I do think that's like, people say that's the greatest horror movie ever. I disagree. Tommy Boy, go blue. You got anything to add?
No.
Nothing. I'll keep you posted on
Yes.
our item here. And yeah, everybody have a good one. Reach out if you need me. Thanks for hanging out as always. And I'll see you guys when I see you. I turn 36 tomorrow, so I'll be expecting lots of cards in the mail with 36 $1 bills in them. So everybody have a good night.
Happy birthday. Go blue.
Happy birthday.
Thank you.